So Jerry Jones compared the Micah Parsons trade to the Herschel Walker trade. That now, if you're really old, you might remember this, but this happened way back in the 1980s, and it set the stage for the Cowboys to become a three-time Super Bowl winner in the 1990s, before social media, before the internet was really big. That was in the period of time they used AOL was the internet. Anyway, here's Jerry Jones waxing loquacious about the comparison, and he brought this up unsolicited. Take a listen.
I want to be sure that our fans understand. I think a lot of Micah, and I wish him so much success. I don't want him to have success when they play the Cowboys as much as I do want him to have overall success. But Micah Parsons did an outstanding job for us for 4 years. And a little bit of the way Herschel Walker may have had his greatest contribution to the Cowboys, what he brought to us when he left could be a tremendous thing for our fans and the success of this team.
Okay, so let's discuss the question. You just heard the soundbite. Jerry Jones comparing the Micah Parsons trade to Green Bay to the infamous 1989 trade of Herschel Walker to the Vikings. Does that work for you? I've got Jonas Brothers, Lemonade Stand, and Radioactive. And we'll combine all of these things together. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. So a couple of opening thoughts on this. Jerry said, could be. Now, as a historian of the weasel terms, as a scholar of the weasel terminology, could be is classic weasel language. So when you say could be, it also could be a tremendous disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. So there's also that part of it. And it's one of the great backhanded compliments that Jerry Jones gave Micah Parsons. He's essentially saying, listen, you were fine with us, but really you're better off in what we're getting in return for you. That a couple of draft picks and some no-name generic defensive tackle is better than you. So it's some good press conference theater from Jerry Jones. He's the maestro at this. Jerry Jones got into some of Aaron Rodgers' ayahuasca stash, but in reality, not even close. Like the Herschel Walker trade was the Mona Lisa of fleecings back in the day. But even that, if you actually go player by player, the trade with the Vikings, the draft picks that the Cowboys got back, they repackaged some of them. They kept a few of them, but they did not get the core from the draft picks the Vikings traded to Dallas. They got roster depth with those draft picks. The Parsons deal, when you're comparing it to the Parsons deal, this is a finger painting in a rest stop somewhere out in western Texas compared to the Mona Lisa, which was the Herschel Walker trade. 2 first-round picks and a guy named Kenny Clark, who's a 30-year-old defensive tackle. And if I gave you a lineup of football players' mugshots and I said, pick out Kenny Clark, I'll give you $10 million, I'd keep my $10 million. You wouldn't be able to pick him out. And so that's the deal, right? That's the deal. And so now they end up getting rid of Micah Parsons, and it's not the war chest. The war chest was what the Vikings gave, which was like 5 or 6 players and a bunch of draft picks and all that stuff. It was an 18-player trade. This is a junk drawer situation. And you know, and every man, woman, and child knows that those picks are right now worthless, right? You have no idea what they're going to turn out to be. You don't, I don't, Jerry Jones doesn't, nobody does. Despite all this excitement, it is a Jonas Brothers song, Sucker. If you're a true believer in these draft picks, you, my friend, are a sucker, right? You can always sell the future. And I've learned a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two in my time behind these microphones when it comes to how sports and the business of sports work. Draft picks are the ultimate con in professional sports. You sell the future. People always buy the future. People by default are positive about the future being better. That is always the default position. It's the old Sam Hinkie, that weasel that ran the Philadelphia 76ers into the ground. It's the old scam, trust the process. You tell someone to trust the process, they're going to trust the process. It's snake oil, right? Snake oil. You traded an established player. And again, I've got issues with Micah Parsons, but you traded Micah Parsons for a couple of guys who, A, are not on the team right now, and you won't fully monetize the trade until 2027. So maybe they'll be good in 3 years, but it's also possible they'll draft a couple of klutzes, or they'll draft a guy that'll trip over a Lego and tear his ACL before training camp. It's like trading a hurricane for a humid breeze is what you've done. And Jerry, I heard all the bull crap that he was serving. Jerry Jones is trying to sell the fan that you're getting filet mignon. You're getting a nice filet mignon, well done, butterfly cut, the way it's supposed to be cooked. And he's really serving Spam. But he's putting the Spam on really nice dishes, and he's using not plastic forks and all. He's got silverware. And Parsons, 26 years old. He's at a fork in the road now. He got paid the most money by anyone other than a quarterback. And in theory, he's going to ascend, right? You're supposed to get better. You're not even in your athletic prime yet. Parsons has a good 6 years of solid football based on the comps. And he's not a declining asset. That's also a big difference here. The Vikings got Herschel Walker, who was near the end, right? And perceived to be on the back nine. The other difference here, after the Herschel Walker trade, who was involved in building the roster? Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, who just retired from Fox and is living out his life in Key West. But Jimmy Johnson, and they had a war room of absolute killers, absolute sharks there that were making the decisions on who to draft and who to sign. And Jerry Jones got a sock puppet now as coach. He got the Nepo baby who's just happy to be there, Schottenheimer, and a bunch of yes men that'll give him a shoulder rub and a mani and a petty. And they have a vision board made out of old photographs of cowboy cheerleaders, and that's how they decide who they're going to pick. Now, secondly, all right, well, I'm going to get back to the Parsons trade in a few. Believe it or not, I'm going to take a breath. Take a breath. So there were some other things that I wanted to yap about, and I'm not going to get to most of them. But in Jersey, the New York Football Jets, their general manager, David Muji, said that he is impressed with the development, the progress of Justin Fields. He said, I do believe Justin can be one of those guys. Muji was referring to Justin Fields, comparing him to Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. The Jets GM said, I've seen progress, Muji said during camp. Look forward to seeing the progress throughout the season. Okay. So, question for the esteemed panel. The Jets general manager is implying that quarterback Justin Fields can follow the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold treasure map, and he can do it in a Jets uniform. How does that sound to you? All right, so it sounds to me like Muji is out there, the Jets GM is out at a lemonade stand, and he's selling hope and dreams right at the corner, right? Hope and dreams. And it's like he's buying a ticket to a luxury cruise. He wants the Jet fans to come on a nice luxury cruise, and you get down to the port, and you end up on a dinghy with a hole in it. And you're like, well, I came down for the buffet. There's no buffet. It's a dinghy. Well, why is there no buffet? You said it was a luxury cruise. Well, it's named luxury. The dinghy's named luxury, so it's technically a luxury cruise. It's not false advertising. But I wanted the buffet. There's no buffet. Why is there no buffet? Well, because it's a dinghy. But you said it was a luxury cruise. It is. It's a dinghy named luxury. All right, so anyway, listen, every training camp, these front office types pass around the pixie dust, right? Like they're working the overnight shift cleaning Disneyland. And by the way, we don't do shout-outs, but a tip of the headphones to our friends who have got an email from people that are out at Disneyland fixing things and cleaning things up there overnight. However, let's keep it real here. For every Baker Mayfield, who sucked out loud when he was with Cleveland, and he went to the Rams and had a very brief little taste of some success after going to Carolina and flaming out. And he's been fine in Tampa. He's put up some good stats. But for every one of those Baker Mayfield stories that somehow you duct tape together and you have a career revival, it's like a religious revival, there are hundreds of players like Zach Wilson who can't play, Mac Jones who blows, Trey Lance, who's just a journeyman backup quarterback now, floating around. All these guys floating around the NFL junkyard, gathering dust. And I'm not convinced that Sam Darnold is the man. We'll see what happens with Darnold here in Seattle. But it's kind of like saying, I'm going to go down to AM PM and I'm going to get a hot dog. And then that hot dog I buy at the gas station might sprout legs and start singing classic Sinatra songs. Like the Jet fans know better. The Jet fan does know better. They have been promised Broadway Joe 2.0 more often than not, and they have bought into it a lot, right, over the years. And instead of getting a Broadway show, they get the Peoria Playhouse quarterback. And Fields, the upsell's happening right now. It sounds less like a road map and more like a GPS stuck and recalculating. We've added time to your trip. You know, you're still on the fastest route and all that stuff. All right, now, final thought. To baseball, talking baseball. And oh, what a night it was for Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber hit not one, not two, not three, but 4 home runs in Philadelphia's 19-4 annihilation. We had some blowout games in baseball this week. That Angel-Rangers game the other night, now this Phillies-Braves game. So this game last night, he became, I believe, the 4th Phillies player and the 21st Major League Baseball player to hit 4 home runs in a game. Schwarber was 4 for 6, and he had a franchise record 9 runs batted in, Kyle Schwarber. So how impressed were you with Schwarber, Kyle Schwarber hitting 4 home runs for the Fightin' Phils against the Atlanta Braves? All right, so this was a thermonuclear event. It was a wild event, dressed for success. I got to say, the first thing that stood out, the Phillies wore their powder blues. They wore their classic throwback powder blue uniforms, dressed for success. You look marvelous. And Schwarber left an absolute vapor trail. Now, not all the home runs, but he absolutely clobbered that first one, and number 2. He absolutely just walloped, and there were moonshots. But that was Schwarber walking into the bank, Citizens Bank Park there, like he was Thor, and he was throwing around Thor's hammer. And he's like, I choose violence against the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves didn't just pitch to Kyle Schwarber in this game. They auditioned for the comeback of this week in baseball. How about that? Now, how about that? Schwarbs was a man possessed on this night, obviously. And it's like he got bitten by a bug, a radioactive bug that Mike Schmidt also got bitten by. Schwarber looked like he was playing MLB The Show in rookie mode, hitting those bombs. And if Philadelphia is going to get this done, and to me, the National League is wide open. Well, what about the Dodgers? Dodgers, very beatable team in the playoffs. That's not a good baseball team. Oh, they're 20 games over 500. I'm telling you. They put that Turdberger out there, Michael Conforto, in the lineup pretty much every day. There's some serious holes in that bullpen. There's some defensive issues there. That is not a championship team as of today. Maybe they'll become that in the playoffs, but right now they're not. And there are anywhere from 3 to 4 teams that are legit in the National League to win the pennant. And Philadelphia's on that list, even though they lost Wheeler. And in order to get that done, they're going to have to be an offensive team. There's going to have to be a Schwarber apocalypse for other teams. Rated R for ruthless, relentless, and rocket-powered in the playoffs. And if you're Philadelphia and you're Fats in Philadelphia or any of those other guys, Jonathan over in Delaware, this is a teaser trailer. It's a teaser trailer for postseason carnage to come in October. Now, Kyle Schwarber is not just warming up. Like, he is test firing the nukes with that bat. I mean, that was awesome. And they should wear those uniforms all the time. I'm just saying. Wear those all make that the home uniform or the road uniform. Just wear the powder blues all the time.